Hello everyone! My name is Eulite and welcome to my first ever speed build for The Sims 4. You'll have to forgive me if I sound nervous, but that's because I am! I've never done anything like this before, but it's quite exciting to be getting to share all of this with you. Today I'm building in the newest world, Henford-on-Bagley, and I'm going to be using this home as part of my Rags to Riches Let's Play. This is a 50 by 40 lot, and as you might be able to see on the screen, the address is 2 Old Mill Lane, located in the Old New Henford neighborhood. The inspiration for this build came from a picture I had found on Pinterest. At first I thought it was a real cottage, but I quickly realized my mistake and laughed at myself after seeing that the description listed it as a build your own model kit. So even though it's not real, I did like how the model looked, and as it looked like a cozy home that was covered with lots of greenery, and I decided to stick with it, and I'm using it as motivation for what this home could be turned into by myself and my sim by putting in hard work, time, and care. As you can see right now, I am working on the main shape of the home. I know when a new pack comes out, players love to use as many of the new items as possible in their builds, and I was excited to use the new thatched roof pattern. But I ended up changing it and going with one of the shingle options instead. I just felt like the shingle style worked best with the shape of the roof that I was using. I was also having a hard time deciding which colors I had wanted to use for the columns and the front door. And although it started off as green and switches to brown, I end up sticking with the white swatch. I do love the green color a lot though, and I'm going to be sure to use it with future builds. Although the shape of the build was leaning more on the simple side, I did find this build to be a challenge, just because I am so used to using building plans to help me with the homes that I share to the gallery. Going forward though, I am going to try and come up with my own layouts and not rely as heavily on building plans, just because I think it will help me become a better Sims builder. What about you though? What do you like to use for inspiration? I'd love for you to comment down below and let me know if you also enjoy browsing through design plans and recreating them in game, or if you actually just prefer to come up with your own designs. So right now I'm just deciding what kind of brick I wanted to use for the home. And I really liked this one that had come with Cottage living. I just love how rustic and just detailed the colors of the stones look. And here is when I decide I'm just going to stick with the white swatch and always leave the option to adding more color as I go further along with my Let's Play. Right now I'm working on our window placement, and I was very tempted to add flower boxes, but as this is for Rags to Riches, I didn't want to overdo it and start adding too much decor at the beginning and just wait until my sim had become more financially stable. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is my first ever video, and I thought I would share a little bit about me and my history with this game. I have been a fan of the franchise since The Sims 1 was released, and I've always enjoyed the gameplay, but I really fell in love with build mode when Sims 4 came out. I started sharing my builds to the gallery in 2017, and more recently I did want to start my own channel to have fun being creative in a whole new way. My hope is that I'm able to grow this channel and create a space where players can be themselves, have fun, and get to interact positively and respectfully with each other. I, like so many others, were very excited when they announced that this next expansion was going to be Cottage living. In terms of gameplay, farming was definitely something I wanted to have in game, and now just seemed like the perfect time to stop hesitating and start creating videos like this. So I did mention that I'm going to be doing a Rags to Riches Let's Play. Also something new that I've never done, even off YouTube. I always tend to use the money cheat and build the biggest, most expensive house that I possibly could and live as decadent lifestyle, but I wanted to have a little bit of a different take on it, as I've seen many other Sims players on YouTube get to do these challenges. It looks like fun, and I thought I would do it myself. One of the ways though that my Rags to Riches is going to be differing from the other challenge rules that I've seen online is that I am allowing my sim to use the 20,000 simoleons that they start off with to be able to buy this lot, and then from there use that to build the home rather than starting with no money, because it went against the story that I had in mind for my sim in this Let's Play. I imagined that my sim will have the chance to start anew by leaving their old life behind in San Myshuno and becoming a bit of a country mouse. They may have been very close with a grandparent or aunt or uncle that had purchased this plot of land with the intention of starting their own farm and enjoying a quieter country life, but due to their circumstances they weren't able to make that dream a reality. But then there's a family get-together and my sim finds out about this opportunity and they just couldn't turn it down. So now that I had decided how I wanted to divide up the space, I did start working first on the smaller bathroom before I moved on to the kitchen. Once again, I was loving this green color swatch for these cupboards, but I do end up deciding to go with blue. As I upgrade my kitchen though, who knows, maybe I will go back to this lovely green, because I do also love the warmth of the wooden countertops. After I placed the appliances though that came with the cottage living, my budget was down to only 1,618 simoleons, and I had not even yet bought myself a bed, so I knew that I needed to make some changes, like selling a cupboard for some extra money. As well, I knew I needed a dining table for my sim to sit at so that they could eat, as I didn't have any other furniture that they were going to have yet in the home. I certainly can't wait for my sim to use their hard-earned simoleons to pick up some new furniture and decor items, as I think that's when this build will really come to life. And I also hope that, through the Let's Play we'll be able to start a family here and then get to fill it with lots of family pictures, kids artwork, and of course just all the other stuff that comes with the gameplay for family and getting to see them cook together in the kitchen. So now with only a few simoleons left, I opt for a single bed so that the upgrade to a larger bed will be that much sweeter. I created a very basic clothing rack using the clothing shelf from Dream Home Decorator, and will either purchase a proper dresser or walk-in closet when it's time. For the master ensuite, I only had enough left to wall off the bathroom and install a wall shower that had come with the university pack. I had considered perhaps losing the second story and waiting to build the add-on until after my sim had more in the bank, but I felt that with a property this size that a larger home was more realistic about what would be existing here, and now I'll get to have the fun of getting to see the house become a home as it gets filled with lots of knickknacks and furniture. I moved the house to the bottom right corner of the lot, and I created a path by using the terrain tool with the new walkway pattern. After placing the mailbox, I realized I had forgotten to add a garbage can and fire alarm to the kitchen, so I quickly took care of that before I finished the outdoor touches. Using the debug menu, I add the broken fence objects to make it feel like this property is older, and a little rundown and in need of TLC. I finished decorating by adding a tree, but I didn't want to overdo it with the debug decor items since there is zero cost, and I wanted to try to stick to my lower budget. We are just about at the end of this video, and if you've enjoyed it, then I would be thrilled if you would give it a thumbs up. Don't forget also to ring the bell and for notifications, and of course I hope you will subscribe and join me on this fun little journey. Screenshots are just about to be starting shortly, even though they are the saddest screenshots I've ever seen. But I just want to say thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.